The big shift that we're seeing in organizations that are leveraging social software thoroughly is this shift from a need to know to a need to share culture. The ability to increase productivity by the way that you're coordinating your organization in not just ways that are pre-subscribed, that are intelligently designed, but enabling them to emerge. Methods of organizing projects and processes that are more agile, that are more iterative and more adaptive. New structures inside of an organization that aren't necessarily just disrupting the hierarchy, but augmenting them with different ways of creating interactions across the boundaries of the organization, including with customers and partners. So much of the focus in enterprise social software happens to be about Twitter, which is, the thing that's at the peak of the hype cycle. Yeah. But really what it is we have a microblogging app called Social Text Signals, and what we're finding is a very different adoption play, where it's a lot more kind of turning on a communication utility that's broad, a Twitter for your intranet, and enabling a different kind of company-wide conversation. And the beauty of it is the simplicity of microblogging, just short 140 message characters, very easy for people to understand. The culture of use emerges a lot faster. What we're finding is deploying that very broadly across the organization while diving deeper into department by department kind of process specific in the flow use cases seems to be the approach that we're taking today, and it's really working. What's happening with the consumer web, people are learning new behaviors. 60% of people in the United States use social media on a regular basis, right? And that statistic was not there a couple years ago. There's also generational shifts that most people are aware of. Not just, the kids who grew up doing their homework on Facebook, we called that cheating when they're in school. They come to the workforce, demand similar tools, and we call it collaboration, right? And so there's a different way in which people are learning to communicate, a different way in which people are learning to collaborate, and that's happening first on this open experiment of this weird, woolly web that we do have. So things are happening first on the social web with a pace of innovation that is always going to be faster than what happens inside of companies, both for culture's sake, both from the way that enterprises look at applying information technology. And so I think, the rate of change actually is accelerating to a degree. We actually had this kind of engagement iceberg, right? So the top 1%, or I'd say of all the conversations that are occurring around your brand, only 1% of those conversations is at the tip, is actually ingested, is learned from by the organization. The next 9% of those conversations touch the company, but the company never learns from them. The remaining 90% are completely opaque, until recently actually. Now on Twitter, other social media, suddenly you can find all these conversations about your brand, and you have a new decision to make of whether it be from PR, marketing, customer support, or sales. You have new issues of who's going to own engagement. What processes are you going to have for first listening and then monitoring and then learning and responding and engaging with those public conversations, and finding new ways and models of engagement that can help stimulate much better ideas and better value creation in a way that's a little bit more satisfying than the way that we've really marginalize the relationships that we end up having with our customers and have just a hell-bent focus on only transactions with short-term results. Really, typically, you'll deploy social software, let's say in a place like a contact center or a call center, right? Where historically these call centers, the main thing that they're really measured on is call deflection, right? How quickly can we get off of the phone? How little of our time can we spend actually helping solve problems, right? The first step that you can do is empower them, let's say, with a wiki knowledge base that's a lot more flexible and unstructured for people to be able to do an unstructured search, look through tags, find answers, but then also, if they don't find the answer, be able to contribute that at any time. And what's interesting is that then what we see is rolling out in concentric circles. Suddenly, they're also involving people, let's say, who engineered the product, or the product managers, or the organization as a whole. Maybe at first just to tap into into that knowledge base as a resource for them in their jobs, but then over time being able to contribute to it. When it flips and you're able to make it available publicly, maybe it's in a private extranet fashion to your end customers, what ends up happening is they can do something more than the notion of self-service within CRM to be able to look up an answer on their own so they don't call into the call center. But they can also, be contributing knowledge in different ways.